All right, hello from Lund, Sweden. We took the train across the Öresund Bridge from Denmark over to Sweden. That was a really cool experience. Okay, so today on Study Abroad 2019, go Buffs. Am I doing it right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool, great, yeah. We, in the morning, we visited with the Danish Engineers Union, and that was a really interesting experience because unions in Denmark work a lot different from unions in the US. And one thing they introduced to us that I found interesting was the idea of flexicurity. And that means that workers both have a safety net, which is part of their welfare system, but they're also very flexible. And so it's easy for employers to lay off employees if their skills have become obsolete or if they're not doing a good job. And that's a very capitalist idea, but then they also have this social safety net that allows people to not, enter poverty and become destitute, and to get job retraining so that they can re-enter the workforce with a more marketable skill. So that was one thing I found interesting about today.
To add on to to add on to what Ryan was saying, I also found it interesting that they talked about how members of the union who have retired from their positions came back to mentor other members or consult on different projects. So when I thought about that, it was essentially human capital preservation within the industry, within each specific industry. So I thought that was a really interesting concept that I think the U.S. could try to potentially implement in the sense of like mentorships, like outside the unions even. So that's something else I found really interesting.
Yeah, and one thing they told us in the unions was the remarkable amount of trust that the Denmark country has for their contracts and what they do for their labor unions. And we saw a lot of that later that day when we gone to Minker for the beer tour and what they do there, which ended up being very educational. Looking at how they operate, a lot of what they did was they started this company out of not knowing where they were kind of going, which is very much the Danish culture, which is really cool to me. But also, they started as an international company before they were a Danish company. And how they were able to do that was to collaborate with companies and breweries over in America, which they told us they didn't really do contract work for them. It was really on a trust base that they would brew one of their beers with a company in America, and it was like an unsaid rule that the American company would do the same with them. So I thought it was really cool, and it really getting to see the unions and Minker, the beer company, collide like that was really cool, really fascinating. So
They have a trust-based society much more than America. It seems like, and there's some interesting social results because of that and the way that they do business.
Yeah.
Overall, a really great day.
Yeah.
Awesome day. All right, we'll see you in Denmark.
Woo!
Go Buffs.